Welcome back to the Kenyan Food Channel. Today, as I'm sure you're already bored with me on camera, I brought someone with me. This is my good friend and nephew Kim.
Yes.
And we're going to make a simple dish together, something that's a lunch favorite the world over, the steak sandwich. So, you've made a steak sandwich before?
I've never made steak sandwich before.
I've never made steak sandwich with someone, so this is going to be new. So, where do we start? I guess for the steak sandwich, what we need is obviously steak. What I have here is regular Kenyan sirloin. You can use other steak, but make sure it's short frying steak, not chuck or brisket, because you're going to be chewing until your teeth fall out. The other things we'll need are onions. Here's your first job. Tomatoes, job number two, and I have some roasted peppers here. You don't have to use roasted peppers, you can use fresh peppers, but in this case I'm using roasted ones. There we go. Now the onions, the tomatoes and the peppers we cut into thin strips.
Yeah.
Not too thin, we don't have to be too fussy, but just thin enough so they cook through quickly. Choose your weapon.
The smaller one.
The smaller one. Ah, okay. So Kim's going to use this one, I'm going to use this one. He's going to cut the vegetables, and I will slice the steak.
Yeah.
Go for it, mate. Take it for a spin. The important thing again is to slice the steak as thin as possible with your knife. If you have a slicer at home, which most people don't, it's even easier, but in this case we want some very thinly sliced steak because it'll cook very quickly and stay tender at the same time. If you slice it too thick, again, you're going to be giving your teeth a workout, which is not the objective of steak. At least not of good steak. Steak done? How are you going with your onions?
It's going well.
That's okay.
Okay, for
That's
this,
not bad.
For this, should I cut them across again because I've already sliced them like this?
Ah, I see. Okay, so we do another segment another day on how to slice an onion. That's cool. No, this is great.
Okay.
Hand it over.
Okay.
So we have some thinly sliced onion here. That's perfect. I'm just going to cut the onion again in half so we get nice strips. There we go. All right, good stuff. So we have our onion. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm just going to separate it a little bit so that it fries evenly. Otherwise you'll have raw chunks in your steak sandwich, which is not going to make you popular when you're breathing out in public. But it's COVID-19, you're wearing a mask, so no problem.
No one will know.
No one would ever know whether your breath smells or not.
These tomatoes.
Okay, these tomatoes.
I don't know how to cut them.
Okay, we have a little bit of a tomato massacre, but that's okay. If you just cut them through again like that, we'll actually end up with some dice. Yeah,
that okay?
yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I just wanted.
That's fine. Again, for a steak sandwich, it's not that important because we're going to cook it all together. So that's perfectly fine. I'm going to quickly slice the peppers. Done. Now, strictly speaking, chives are not part of a steak sandwich, but I like them because they give it a nice fresh herb flavor, and so and they look nice on it. So I'm just quickly going to dice them finely. And here we are. We've got our ingredients ready for a steak sandwich. Stand by. All right, to finish the steak sandwich, we're going to have to toast up the buns. So I'm going to fire up this jet-propulsed induction cooker. It makes a bit of noise, but I hope you can still hear me. Right, so we're going to take, in this case, you can use toast, you can use hamburger buns, you can use whatever bread you have, but I find the old hot dog buns kind of work the best for that purpose. So I'm going to cut them down the middle, open them up, just like so. Did you want one as well?
Yes.
Okay.
For
All
sure.
right, okay.
Of course.
Just making sure. I can eat 2 of those easily. All right, here we go. So a little bit of oil in the pan, just a very little bit, because we don't want soggy buns. Nobody likes a soggy bun. And we're going to pop them face down into the pan. Move them around a bit so they get coated with the oil, and we're going to give them a minute.
Yeah. What's next after the buns? Is there a specific order you usually?
Oh, it gets very complicated. because we have to throw everything in the pan. No,
once.
but seriously, no. Because we want the onions to cook at the same time as the steak.
Yeah.
But we also want the steak cooked through, at least here in Kenya.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like red in their meat. They like it cooked through. So we want both the onions cooked reasonably well and the steak. So we will put the onions in first. Ordinarily I'll put the steak in first, but in this case I'd put the onions in first.
Okay.
So while we've been talking, these things start smoking,
You know it's good.
which tells me, whee, they are toasted. So what I'd like you to do, after I've put a dash of oil in here, throw the onions in. Just dump them in. Here we go. You can see the pan is nice and hot, so we're just going to shake them around a bit.
It's smelling nice too.
It does. Fried onions. You can smell it through the entire apartment building usually when someone starts frying onions. Right, so we're going to give these about 30 seconds, 45 seconds to get a head start on the steak. A bit like me in a Kenyan run. I need a head start. Okay, these are chives. Now, chives are the long, thin herbs that you've seen in the intro. You don't have to use chives. You can use spring onions. You can use no chives or spring onions at all. You can use some parsley or whatever. But it's always nice to have a little bit of green in a dish, just to mix up color. Yeah,
It's okay.
it's good to mix color,
Yeah. In general.
even on cooking shows.
But yeah.
All right. So these have had a head start. So now we go in with our steak.
Oh, say first.
Because tomatoes they cook really quickly, and we don't want to end up with a tomato gravy.
Yeah.
You still want a little bit of fresh tomato in there. So we'll throw in the steak.
Okay, so this.
Yeah. Dump it.
Okay.
Steak's in the pan. Now I'm going to use the seasoning mix for steak. You can use pepper and salt and paprika. This is a seasoning mix I'm working on with the Kenyan Food Channel at the moment, which will be out soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon
Coming soon.
to your home, into your kitchen, and ultimately your stomach. So I'm putting a little bit of that over it just to season the steak. Again, there's not much to it. It just has the right mix of spices to coat the steak. So if you see, it's frying up nicely. We're going to give it a minute longer. What we want is that steak to caramelize. Caramelize means basically the sugars on the outside of a food like steak or onions, they start to brown up and become sweet and golden and brown. A bit like caramel. Hey, we're almost there, see? So at this point, there's still a little bit of red. We're going to dump in the tomatoes.
Okay.
Yep. Dump them in. Dump in the peppers. Perfect. Again, we're going to toss that through. You don't have to do the pan toss. You can use the spatula. Now, we don't want to cook the tomatoes too long because, again, otherwise you're making tomato gravy, okay?
Yeah.
So, next thing is, we take some cheese, we break it up, and we throw it onto the steak. Let it mingle, and it will melt. So we're going to toss that through, and we're going to put a lid on. As you can see, this all moves really quickly.
Yeah.
It's a nice quick lunch dish, easy to do. All right, so I always like to add a little bit of extra zing to my sandwiches. So what I've done is I've mixed a little bit of mayo and chili sauce. You can use any chili sauce. I use sriracha because it's hot and spicy.
Yeah.
If you don't want it spicy,
What about Tabasco?
Tabasco is great. Gives you a little bit of vinegar as well.
Yeah.
Whoa, and see, look at that steak sandwich. See how it's coming together with the cheese? Woo. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn off the jet engine, and as you can see, it's coming together with the cheese. Now, I'm going to spread a little bit of that mayo onto the sandwich, and then I'm going to take that steak and the mix and put it onto
The sandwich.
our open bun. And then we're going to sprinkle some of these over.
No, not like that.
Huh?
Like this.
Yeah, and then watch where they go. Watch where they go. If you do that, they end up there and there. Okay, yeah, okay.
They're on top.
I'm done. He's taking over. You sprinkle the herbs.
Okay.
You let them. Is there a trick to letting them bounce off your elbow?
You just point it direct.
Okay.
Make sure the elbow is on top of the.
All right. Well, since we're onto that, then let's grind a bit of pepper onto this as well, just for visuals. Okay. And the next thing you'll see is what we've just done here. And here we are with the finished product, and as I've just been reminded, we better show you that that it tastes good, which it does, of course, but you know, we better show you how we eat it as well.
Formality.
Exactly, formality. So you have the steak, you have the peppers, the onions, the chives, the spicy mayo, all mingling with the cheese.
Everything is good, goes good together.
So lunch at your house next time.
Yeah, for sure.
He just made a promise to his parents that he'll cook this for lunch next time.
No problem.
Now, before we just stuff our faces, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like this. And yeah, we'll see you again next time.
See you next time.
Kim and Rob on the Kenyan Food Channel. Cheers.